I need to tell you something that goes against everything you've been taught about work. Getting promoted, the thing you've been working toward, the thing your family brags about, might be the single move that quietly ends your career. Not dramatically, not overnight, slowly, in a way that looks like success from the outside, while everything on the inside starts falling apart. And the scariest part, the people who fall into this trap are not the weak ones. They're the best ones, the highest performers, the people everyone expects to keep rising. I'm going to give you 5 specific reasons why this keeps happening, and the one decision that protects you from it, even though almost nobody has the courage to make it. Here's the story most of us grew up believing. Work hard, get noticed, move up, repeat. Every level is bigger, better, and more rewarding than the last. That story is not just wrong, it's dangerous because it assumes that whatever made you great at your current job will also make you great at the next one. And that single assumption destroys more careers than laziness ever could. Here are 5 reasons why, backed by decades of research and data from over 50,000 workers. Reason number 1, promotions put you in a completely different game. When you get promoted, you're not doing more of the same work. You're doing a completely different job with a completely different set of skills required. Think about what actually changes. The abilities that got you noticed, that made you fast, sharp, and reliable, those are often the opposite of what the new role demands. The best engineer on the team gets promoted to engineering manager, but that job has nothing to do with writing code. It's conflict resolution, performance reviews, budget meetings, managing people who are wired completely differently from you. The company didn't get a better version of that engineer. It lost a great one and gained a struggling manager. Here's what makes this worse. Most organizations never tell you this is happening. They frame the promotion as a natural next step, a reward, a sign that you've arrived. But a promotion isn't a higher floor of the same building. It's a door into an entirely different building where your key might not fit. And the higher you climb, the more different each new building becomes. Which brings us to reason number 2, the research that proved this is not an accident. Reason number 2, the system is designed to set you up to fail. Back in 1969, a researcher named Lawrence Peter noticed something strange happening inside organizations everywhere. The best people kept getting moved up until they weren't the best anymore. His finding was this: when someone does their job well, they get promoted. When they do that job well, they get promoted again. This keeps going until they land in a role they are simply not equipped to handle. They stop climbing, and they stay there, stuck. Peter meant it as a joke about corporate life, but researchers kept testing it, and the data kept proving him right. A group of economists studied over 50,000 salespeople across more than 200 companies. They chose sales because there's nowhere to hide. You either hit your number or you don't. What they found, the top individual sellers were the ones most likely to get promoted to manager. Sounds logical. But then the researchers tracked what happened next. The teams led by these top sellers performed worse than average. Turnover went up, revenue went down. Why? Because the traits that made them exceptional sellers, competitive, aggressive, self-focused, made them poor at developing and supporting other people. The people who became the best managers, they were the natural collaborators, the ones who preferred working with others. But because their personal numbers weren't the flashiest, they rarely got promoted. The system was selecting for the wrong people. And it's probably doing the same thing where you work right now. But even if you are the right person for the next role, there's a hidden statistical force working against you from day one, and almost nobody talks about it. Reason number 3, you were promoted at your luckiest moment. Here's how the trap actually closes. To get promoted, you usually need a great year, a genuinely exceptional, record-breaking year. But great years are never only about skill. They're also about timing, about luck, about conditions that lined up perfectly in your favor. When your company promotes you off the back of that year, they're making a decision based on your absolute peak performance, the stars-aligned version of you. What happens the year after? The luck runs out. Conditions change. Your numbers drift back toward what they normally look like, which for most people is still decent. But now you're also carrying a harder role, doing less of what you're good at, and more of what you're not. From the outside, it looks like the promotion broke you. It didn't. You were set up to fall the moment you were selected, because you were chosen at your ceiling, then immediately asked to perform above it. And this brings us to something I want you to picture clearly, because once you see it, your entire idea of a career path changes permanently. Reason number 4. Every career has a peak, and most people climb past it. Imagine a simple graph. Left to right is job level. Bottom to top is how good you are at that level. For most people, that line goes up, reaches a peak, and then comes back down. Early in your career, you're learning fast. Competence climbs quickly. Then you hit a level where everything clicks. The work fits how your brain operates. You move fast. You solve problems instinctively. You feel genuinely good going to work. That's your peak. Then comes the promotion, and the line starts dropping. Not because you stopped trying, not because you got lazy, but because the job above you is not a harder version of your job. It's a different job entirely, one that requires different wiring. And here's what should genuinely bother you. We celebrate that downward slope. We throw a party for it. We post about it. We call it growth. But what if the smartest move, the one that actually protects your income, your reputation, and your sanity, is to identify your peak and choose to stay there? Most people never ask that question, because there's one final force making sure they don't, and it might be the most powerful one of all. Reason number 5. Social pressure makes you do the math wrong. Every promotion is an exchange. You give up something, you gain something. Most people only think about what they're gaining. The gain is visible: more money, a more impressive title, a new line on your resume. The loss is quieter. You leave behind work that energized you. You step into meetings that drain you. You take on stress you weren't built to carry. And you risk underperforming in a very public way. Run the real numbers. A 15% salary increase, packaged with double the pressure, half the enjoyment, and a genuine chance of getting stuck in a role you spend years trying to escape. No rational person would take that trade if they saw it clearly. But social pressure blurs the math. Saying yes feels brave. Saying no feels like you're giving up or settling. That feeling is exactly what keeps the trap working. And it's the reason most people never consider the move that actually wins. Here's what the smartest people do instead. They separate the reward from the role. Most of the time, what you actually want is more money, not more responsibility. Once you're honest about that, the conversation with your manager becomes completely different. You go in and say something like this: I've thought carefully about this, and I want to be transparent. The area where I create the most value is the actual work, not managing it. I'd like to grow in that direction. Take on more complex projects. Help develop the people around me informally, and build a compensation path that reflects that contribution. You're not turning something down. You're proposing something better for you and for them. Some companies already have pathways for this. Senior individual contributor tracks, specialist roles that pay as well as management without requiring you to become a different person. If yours doesn't, you might be the one who proposes it. And if they say the only way to earn more is a management title, that answer tells you something important about whether this company is worth staying at. The people who win long careers aren't the ones with the most impressive trajectory. They're the ones who found the level where they were truly excellent and stayed there on purpose, not because they were afraid to climb, because they were smart enough to know when to stop. That's not settling. That's the game played at the highest level. If this made you think differently about your next move, subscribe. Every video on this channel is about making smarter decisions with your career, your money, and your time, using evidence instead of assumption. See you in the next one.